In the deepest part of the sea stood the palace of the Sea King. And he had 6 daughters. They played in the garden all day long. Unlike the other princesses, the youngest was quiet and brooding. And her name was the Little Mermaid. Most of all, she loved listening to stories about the world of people. Traditionally, a mermaid could only rise to the surface for the first time in her 16th birthday. And now it's time to see the land and the youngest princess. She surfaced close to the ship, singing and music coming from the deck. This was the first time the princess saw the ship. In the cabin of the ship, the Little Mermaid noticed a handsome prince. For a long time she could not take her eyes off him. Suddenly, a violent storm began at sea. The prince's ship hit a rock and shattered into pieces. In complete darkness, lightning flashed, and the Little Mermaid saw the prince fall into the sea. She rescued him by bringing him ashore. Soon the prince was found by a girl passing by. When he woke up, he smiled at her and thanked her for saving her. The Little Mermaid became sad that the prince did not even know about her existence. She dived into the water and swam away. From her father's stories about people, the Little Mermaid knew that they considered the fishtail of mermaids to be ugly. Therefore, in order to please a person, one had to acquire 2 legs. The next day, the Little Mermaid went to the sea witch. The sorceress agreed to make a potion for her that would turn the fishtail into a pair of slender legs. The princess's gait would be graceful, but every step she took would bring unbearable pain. And if the prince married another, the Little Mermaid would turn into sea foam. In return, the witch wished to take her wonderful voice from the girl. The princess was ready for anything to be close to the prince, and she agreed. Having sailed to the prince's palace at night, the Little Mermaid drank a magic drink. A sharp pain shot through her and she passed out. Waking up in the afternoon, the girl saw the prince in front of her, and lowering her eyes, found 2 legs instead of a fishtail. The prince tried to find out who she was and how she got here, but the Little Mermaid could not speak. Despite her airy gait and beautiful dancing, she felt terrible pain in her legs. The prince became more and more attached to the Little Mermaid, but still treated her like a cute little child. It never entered his head to make her his wife. Once the prince admitted that his heart is occupied by the one who saved him long ago on the shore, and they are going to get married. The Little Mermaid was very upset, but could not tell him the truth. When it was time for the wedding, the prince invited the Little Mermaid to go with the newlyweds on a honeymoon trip. A luxurious honeymoon tent is spread out on the deck of the ship. The Little Mermaid had one last evening left to be with the one for whom she left her home, gave her wonderful voice and endured endless torment every day. But he didn't even notice them. When silence fell on the ship, the Little Mermaid sat on the deck and waited for the first rays of the sun. Suddenly, near the ship, she noticed her sisters. They tearfully asked the witch to help save the princess from death. The sorceress gave them a sharp knife, with which the Little Mermaid was to pierce the heart of the prince. A drop of his blood would turn her legs into a tail, and she could return to the sea. The Little Mermaid looked into the tent, and saw there a sleeping couple in love. She did not find the strength to take the prince's life, and threw the dagger into the sea. With grief, the Little Mermaid threw herself into the water. But the kindness of the princess melted the heart of the wicked witch. The sorceress cancelled her spell, and the Little Mermaid again had a fishtail instead of human legs.
A long time ago, poor man Ali Baba lived with his wife Zainab in a distant eastern country. He made his living by hard work. He chopped wood in the forest and sold it in the market. Once, while working, Ali Baba noticed that a whole detachment of horsemen was galloping towards him. Out of fear, he climbed a tree and hid in the foliage. The riders stopped under a tree and removed the sacks full of gold from the horses. There were exactly 40 of them, led by the one-eyed chieftain Hassan. Ali Baba immediately guessed that these were robbers who had returned with their prey. While Ali Baba was trembling with horror, the chieftain approached a rock nearby and whispered an incantation. Suddenly an inconspicuous iron door overgrown with grass opened in the rock.
Cool!
The robbers entered the cave, hid all the stolen gold there, took the empty bags and rode back into the forest. After making sure that there were no robbers, Ali Baba descended from the tree.
Cool.
He went to the secret door and whispered the spell he had heard from the chieftain. The door flew open.
Okay.
Ali Baba saw a huge cave full of gold, silver, expensive fabrics and diamonds. Ali Baba looked around, quickly grabbed 2 bags of gold, loaded them onto the donkey and rushed home. Returning to his wife, Ali Baba showed her the sacks of gold. Delighted with wealth, they began to count coins. But the couple did not succeed because there were too many coins. The money should have been measured with a special cup, but poor Ali Baba did not have it. Then Zainab decided to take the cup from Ali Baba's rich brother Kasim. Kasim himself was burning with curiosity. He could not understand why the beggar Ali Baba needed a measuring cup for gold. Therefore, he smeared the bottom of the bowl with honey to find out exactly what the spouses would measure. When Ali Baba returned the bowl, Kasim noticed that gold coins had stuck to the honey at the bottom. He realized that Ali Baba was hiding wealth from him. Then Kasim came to his brother and threatened to inform the king about him if Ali Baba did not tell the whole truth. The frightened Ali Baba told Kasim about the robbers, the cave and even about the spell that opens the secret door. In the morning, Kasim took 10 donkeys and headed to the cave. After casting a spell, he went inside. The untold wealth of the cash turned Kasim's head. He danced for a long time among gold and precious stones, stuffing his bags with coins. Suddenly the sound of hooves was heard outside the door. The robbers have returned. Kasim tried to hide behind sacks of gold, but the robbers found, tied up and kidnapped him. The one-eyed chieftain immediately realized that Kasim was not the only one who knew about the cash in the cave. Then the robber went to the city and learned that a certain Ali Baba had previously been a poor man and now suddenly became rich.
Cool.
Adam followed Ali Baba home and marked his door with a black cross to come at night and take revenge. By evening, Ali Baba's wife went out into the garden to water the donkeys. She saw the cross and immediately realized that this sign was not good. Then she painted the same crosses on all the neighboring houses. At night, the robbers returned and saw that all the doors were marked with a black cross.
No.
They could not find Ali Baba's house. Their plan failed. The next day, the chieftain hung 40 large jugs on the donkeys, hid the robbers in them, and set off for the city. At the bazaar, he pretended to sell butter, and he himself again tracked down Ali Baba.
Yeah.
When it got dark, the chieftain knocked on the house of Ali Baba. The robber asked to spend the night, and in return offered to present 40 large jugs of oil. And Ali Baba agreed. He cordially received the chieftain, and even allowed to drive the donkeys into the yard. While preparing dinner for a guest, Ali Baba's wife noticed that they had just run out of butter. Then she went out into the courtyard to pick up the oil that their guest had brought. But suddenly in the jugs there was a rustle and whisper of robbers. Then Zainab ran to the kitchen, grabbed a cup of boiling water and poured it on one of the robbers. He got scared, screamed, jumped out of the jug and ran towards the mountains. The whole detachment rushed after him in fright. Realizing that he too would soon be uncovered, the chieftain ran out of the house and disappeared without a trace. And Ali Baba and his wife lived happily ever after. And the robbers never returned.